Hi all, one of our notable games today is my over-the-board game fresh off the press from last night. So Kingscrusher playing black against C.Majer. My name's actually Tryfon T.Gavriel. So e4, and I played the Caro-Kannn defense. d4, d5, he took on d5, so it's like Panov-Botvinnik attack system. This c4, very popular. Knight f6, knight c3. The most usual move apparently is e6 here. I played knight c6, which is also quite popular. Knight f3. Now usually it seems black plays bishop g4 here. There's approaching 1,000 games of bishop g4, and games might continue like this. It's a sharp continuation. White's getting double pawns, taking on b7. You need to know what you're doing. Apparently this is equal-ish. This position seems a bit dry and boring though. So in many respects I'm glad I didn't know about that too much. I wouldn't have wanted to go down that path. Anyway, now I choose a much rarer move, bishop e6. It's been seen 120 times in Livebook. I know it blocks in this, but this can always be fianchettoed potentially. And white usually plays either bishop g5 or c5 here. He chose c5. Now I think I do go off the rails. I should fianchetto here. I think I take too many risks. Fianchettoing is the usual move, and it's meant to be a small advantage for white. Bishop b5. Key move, trying to get control of the e5 square. And continuations like this. It seems a lot safer actually than the game. I did take a risk here. After c5, I played knight e4. We come off the rails. There's only a handful of games here. Bishop g5 apparently has been seen before. My opponent played bishop d3. And I just supported the knight. Of course, I'm weakening the dark squares. g6, I'm trying to finish out the bishop. Now any time here I thought bishop b5 is useful just to weaken e5, but he didn't play that, so that knight was left there on e4. I think Tartko once said if you have a knight like that on e4, e5 with white, the attack can play itself. Well, I was happy with the knight, not so happy with the dark squares. But after this retreat, I thought, okay, he's not challenging e5 control that much. And I dared to play queen a5 even. Perhaps thematic might be at some point b6 instead of queen a5, more thematic. But I was worried also about, you know, bishop b5 and queen here. So b6, although it tries to do the classic undermining, it does mean c6 is a tactical target. So queen a5, rook b1 was played, rook a d8. And after a3, it looks as though there's some tactics potentially going on here. For example, knight d4, which I couldn't quite get working for this f2, but I didn't want my bishop being a target, so I moved it out of the way. So I'm preparing some naughty tactic here, potentially with knight takes d4. Now my opponent played queen d3 here, and actually there's, instead of that, there's a way of actually crushing black here because of this queen placement with knight b5 the engine picks up on, which protects a3. And if say rook d7, bishop c7 puts the queen in jail, and then b4 actually traps the queen. And no, I didn't see this line, and thankful my opponent didn't either. The queen is trapped. So like this, knight takes, yes, ouch, end of the game. But I'm not playing a supercomputer, so that's good that didn't happen. Instead, queen d3 happened, and here I've got a tactic myself now. This aforementioned knight takes d4. I couldn't quite see how it was working during the game because I thought basically he had this, and I didn't see anything too much after that. But apparently, I mean, this line has got queen takes f2, and I missed this idea, queen takes e1. So the idea here is knight f2 check, and black is doing great. So yeah, there is that line that does actually work. Knight takes d4 would be good for black, but I missed that. I played rook d7, and we have rook ed1. Queen goes back to d8, b4, and I am very worried now about b5 for e5 control. So I lash out here, trying to undermine white's control of the center with g5. Probably the best way to take this is knight takes g5. On knight takes g5, knight takes d4. This position is apparently, well, it's very nice for white. Yeah, knight takes g5 might have actually been the better way of taking on g5. An improvement here, instead of h6, looks to be bishop g6, but then on knight b5, challenging that d4 knight, it's not so easy. This position is fairly nice for white. Okay, so anyway, my opponent actually played bishop takes g5, and I thought, okay, I can take on g5 and then take on d4, and I've released that lock on the center, so I'm hoping my pawns will go forward, will storm the board, these pawns. Queen h3, I've got to attend to a small matter of mating one threat. h6, and now an exchange sack, rook takes d4, which I dare not take. I dare not accept this exchange sack, because, well, it looks really dangerous. This queen takes here for potentially mating. I didn't see what to do here. So basically I took on g5 instead, because I just want to get my pawns going, and I've got the bishop pair here looking pretty. So rook d4, and I was excited here. I'm getting my pawns going now. g4, squashing any attacking ideas. d4, starting to push the opponent's pieces back. e5, so much for the opponent's b5. That issue has been cleared out of the way, and I've got central pawn mobility now. Rook bd1, e4, and one perk already is I'm trapping this bishop basically, and now I'm pinning this knight. So I immediately got queen g5. He's got to react to that in advance, otherwise big trouble. He plays queen e3, but then queen g5 anyway, and I'm causing some structural damage now after g3. I take on f4, take the queens off. I don't mind this position because I think I've got a target here on the h file. If only the rooks can coordinate on that h file, and this should be okay. So king g7, getting the key out of the way. Bishop e6, and now the rooks are doubling. Double the rooks. And now my opponent's defense is not so great here after bishop d5. I've got a very nice threat, which I hope you will see now. If I give you 5 seconds here, black to play, to break down the fortress. So 5 seconds starting from now. If you want to pause the video, come back to it. I'm hoping you see this next move. It's a crushing blow set up by my pieces now. Okay, rook h3, exchange sack, takes, and now e3 check, and these pawns are still rolling forward. King f1 wasn't played, king g1 was played. It's miserable. Yes, I don't want to just take the rook though. It's a crushing position. d2, it's over. So we take some queening. I played this e2, and I've got my pawns crashing through here with a queen on the way. White resigned here. Totally hopeless position with those two connected passed pawns vividly on the 7th rank in the final position. Yes, that was quite an enjoyable game last night, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm hoping to play some more over the board chess soon, inspired by this one. Okay, comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.